right, let's get going here. Today we are joined by Kristofer Lund, who is the co-founder of Praise, and today we're going to do a Praise a demo. Kristofer was nice enough to offer his time, so thank you so much, Kristofer, for stopping by the Gnosis Chain Discord. Kristofer has contributed to some great projects across the Web3 ecosystem, or space, with Common Stack and TEC. If you're familiar with those communities, then you're probably familiar with Kristofer. Praise itself is used in the Gnosis Chain Discord, so you may be familiar with it, especially if you've been active in the Validator channel or the Gnosis Chain Bounties channel. Praise is a community intelligence system that promotes active participation and collaboration through peer recognition and rewards. Praise helps communities become more intelligent, productive, and inclusive by providing a simple way for community members to acknowledge praise and reward each other's contributions. So for our community, praise is a way for people to basically thank each other for the help that they've received. At least initially, that was the case when we came up with the idea and authored a proposal on the Gnosis forum. It was mainly for the validator community on the Gnosis Chain Discord. If you dish praise, basically you're giving GNO. So the distribution curve of praise is set so that every time someone gets praise, they get a small amount of GNO. We then later made the decision to not just keep the praise bot and the reward system on the validator channel, but we want to use it across the entire Discord. So today we use it for Gnosis Chain Bounties. We have a specific channel there. And then more generally, people are less aware that they can just use it in any channel across the Discord server. So that's partly why we wanted to run the demo today, to just heighten awareness about the fact that praise is something that everyone can use. And generally speaking, it's a great tool to thank someone for helping you, or if someone's trying to troubleshoot an issue and you see two people working together, you can praise them for doing so. So it's a tool to incentivize just help, basically, people just helping each other. So I'm sure Kristofer can use better language than I can to really foreground the importance of praise, but basically that's why we use it, is to incentivize community members to help each other. So with that, I'll hand it over to Kristofer, and he will run through a demo. And yeah, thanks again for making the time, and we're happy to have you here.
Thanks. No, I'm super happy to be able to support you any way I can to make praise a system or a technique that is more used within Gnosis, because within the communities that are actively using praise, we really see a big change in how the communities work. And like you hinted at, you can use praise to incentivize certain behaviors, but at its core, it's about cultivating a culture of giving and gratitude, making the foundations or the fabric of the community stronger, and also rewarding people. But let me not get ahead of I have a short presentation, and I'll try to get as quickly as possible to the demo part. But I thought it would be also relevant to just refresh some of the core elements of why praise exists, and what the problem is that it proposes to solve. So yeah, I'm Kristofer. I'm one of the co-founders of Praise, and if you have any questions about Praise, on how to use it, problems, ideas, etc., you just take a screen dump of my contact information there, and contact me. So the starting point for praise is this, that we are all part of this transition from top-down pyramidal structures to more decentralized organizations that we're moving from centralized top-down to bottoms up and decentralized. And that is great, but it comes also with a lot of headaches. These old centralized top-down structures, they were really good at some stuff. They were really good at knowing who did what and why, and they were really good at finding their collective agency. When you have a mean CEO at the top of a centralized organization, you can get a lot of stuff done. Look at Steve Jobs, etc. So we in these online decentralized communities, we end up having coordination troubles. It's really difficult to find out who does what and how we are organized and all kinds of stuff. And even more so if we try to make shared decisions. Everyone that has been part of a governance vote or whatever it is, it's like really difficult to make decisions together and find this elusive collective agency, and that at the end boils down to getting meaningful stuff. Oftentimes we get stuck in this the worst of positions, the tyranny of structurelessness, where everything is just controlled by hidden decision makers in the background, but there are no like clear paths for making decisions, etc. So the ambition of praise is to sort of to give communities their memory back in a sense, and that is the shared memory about who does what, who did what and when, and what impact that person had. We believe that is like one key piece of this shared organizational memory that allows us to get some of this collective agency back. So at its core, if you haven't tried it, praise is really simple. It can be compared to tweeting. It's a small piece of text, but instead of tweeting something that has struck your mind, it is about acknowledging someone else's contribution to what you see or believe is the shared cause of what you are doing. So the basic instruction is you can praise anything, any kind of contribution on any platform. It should not be limited to certain kind of actions. So it's not steered in that way. So in this case, what you see on the screen here, praise Vitalik for inventing Ethereum. It's a typical praise. We track contributions over time. Many people praise, and we build up a data set consisting of these actual contributions that people have done. And we believe this is a really high quality signal compared to many other systems that sort of claim to do similar things. Oftentimes they only track on-chain activities such as I took part in this vote, I owned this and this token at this point in time, and so on. And that, of course, is a valid signal as well, but it does not tell you if that person is an active contributor. It does not tell you if that is the contributions that person has made are significant. And that also goes for like counting stuff like GitHub pull requests or comments on the discussion forums like SourceCred has been doing. It doesn't tell you really, it's more of a quantitative tracking, activity tracking, than a qualitative tracking about who does what. And that is also needed, but praise serves a slightly different purpose. So when we have this data set consisting of information about who did what and when, we add the third layer, which is the impact layer, where we assess each praise item to try to determine the impact it had. So we use a group of quantifiers. It's a group of volunteers from the community that look at each individual praise and try to just assess the impact of that praise on a scale from 1 to 144. Is this a small contribution or a large one? A simple task. In the end, we get this data. We have this huge data set, and we can do all sorts of stuff with it. The same way that Google can turn your the information about your preferences, etc., when searching they can monetize that in a huge way. We, as a decentralized community, we can own our own data, and we can turn this data set into other kinds of insights that serve our community interests. We can use it for insights. We can use it as a source for rewards when we know who did what and when, and the impact. Of course, we can turn that into a Gnosis distribution. We can use it for content generation, and we can use it to generate reputation that then can be used for stuff like governance, access, and so on. And today I wanted to highlight a little bit of the new features that we have just launched. Or let me just go back again to this one. And in the Gnosis community, we have so far only used it for rewards. So it initially started out with the validator part of the community. So the ambition that when validators help users and users help users in the validators channel, they should be rewarded with some Gnosis tokens, right? To sort of stimulate that and make the validators community more vibrant. And now it has been praised. You can use it, like John said, you can just use it in any channel. So I guess that then the goal is to stimulate to make the fabric of the community, the whole community, stronger, more helpful. And we can do more of the content generation stuff now, since with these new features that I'm going to tell you about. Reputation is not something that we have looked at for Gnosis yet, but we can do that later if there's interest. So new features, the Praise Explorer, some AI analytics, and the leaderboards I would like to show you. And maybe I should just start off by showing you how a praise looks. I'll just go ahead and send the praise just for reference. Let's hop over to the Gnosis server and to some channel, general channel, that's the channel. So praise. So praise John. So praise John for setting up the praise demo call. That's how you praise. It's as simple as that. And the key thing is here that when it becomes a culture practice, when you do it every day, you do it like 1-2 times a day to praise someone in the community, then quite quickly we generate a super interesting data set. So new features of praise. We have launched a praise explorer that allows you as a user to view praise from all communities using praise. So we will, over time, we will build out this explorer with more features. But so far you can find yourself. Gnosis is down here somewhere. And let's click in on Gibbeth, for instance. Gibbeth is the community that sort of where praise was born from. So it's not surprisingly the most active praise community. But let's have a look at how the praise dashboard looks. So when you click on a community, you get to the praise dashboard, and then you can see the praise feed, and it is somewhere similar to the Twitter feed in the sense that it's a timeline of what goes on in the community, you could say. So you can go here and scroll through this and quickly find an overview of what goes on. But I wanted to show you one of these new AI analytics features. So basically what we do with AI analytics is that we search and filter the data, the combination of having both the qualitative data, the information about who did what, and also the quantitative information allows us to do good queries and filtering and so on. So we have generated an automated contributor bio is one of the first features. So I'm going to have a look at Moshi Hub here. He's a solid contributor to Giveth. And when you view his sort of profile page, of course, you see the basic stuff, such as the praise he has received and the praise he has given, and his the praise score he has received over time, and so on. So some metrics. But the new feature here is this text. So in addition to that, you also see an automatically generated contributor bio that describes Moshi Hub not in his own words, but using based on the praise he has received from others. So objectively, it's a much better description than anything you find on LinkedIn, which is 90% self-boosting. And so Moshi Hub primarily works with DevOps on backend infrastructure, yeah, and it's remarkably accurate actually. Even using these older GPT models that we are using, or this might be using GPT-4, I believe. And he's also categorized the contributions he's made. So he works on internet connectivity. He works with VPNs and backup scripts and DevOps contributions. And the labels here is not what you typically get from like a org chart or the large language models are much more creative with coming up with labels on people than we are. So next thing I would want to show you is the what's up command. So basically you can access this information also from Discord. So the command is who is when you want to view the contributor bio. So who is Lauren perhaps? Basically, this gives you the same information that you just saw on the profile screen. And then we also, and now I'm using, again, Giveth on Discord, because the Giveth data set is much more interesting to look at, to be honest, than the Gnosis one. And the purpose of this call is, of course, to make you enthusiastic about using Praise more, so you can also get these kinds of insights for Gnosis. So the next command I would like to show you is what's up. And what's up is also content generated based on the praise that we have access to. And this looks at the praise, the last 7 days worth of praise, and then it sends the data set to a large language model, GPT-4, and with the instruction to summarize this data in a newsletter form, basically. And this is also not jaw-droppingly good, but it's surprisingly good, actually, at describing what goes on in the community. So you can see here we have some project updates, and we have some things to look forward to, some DAO Ops working group proposals and Giveth website improvements, etc. And no human hand has touched this description. Third thing I wanted to show you was the leaderboards, and this also requires a little bit more active community for the leaderboards to be sort of really interesting. Leaderboards is straight up. It's a summary. It just looks at the quantitative, the numerical part of a praise, the impact score, and just shows you, who are the most impactful praise givers and praise receivers in the community the last quantified period. We don't have to go into details what that means. But it's an interesting, straightforward metric. Everyone can interpret this. Like Almond is the biggest praise giver, not the biggest praise receiver. So apparently she's the most impactful contributor to give it right now. Final thing, no, that was it. Praise Explorer, AI Analytics, leaderboards, and I think I want to open up for questions now, because and I want to stress this again. It's we Praise, the open source project Praise, would be super happy to support you, Gnosis, in creating more of a daily practice around praise. That is the good way of getting started with praise, is to integrate it into your working group calls and that kind of stuff. Usually that is the best way of actually really getting started, is that you reserve 5 to 10 minutes at the start of a community call or a working group call, and then you praise together. everyone praises at their keyboard. Maybe the facilitator of the meeting reads out the praise as they come in. That is the best way. Together with having a clear reason to use praise. And in your case, you actually have, I think you're actually quite well funded when it comes to Gnosis, the amount of Gnosis, tokens you can distribute based on praise. So there's a monetary incentive and there's this other incentive of using praise to build a more vibrant community. I think I'll pause there and see if we have some questions.
Yeah, and I just want to add really quick. So so far we have not included community members in the quantification of praise, but we will start doing that very shortly here. And I think that's also another great way to get more adoption and just to see more people using praise across the server. So and then just one other quick note: when someone praises you, the praise bot will DM you, and it will say, "You've been praised. Kristofer praised you for setting up the praise demo call," and then you can click on the praise dashboard and see that praise in live time. So I guess I also had a question for you, Kristofer, about this DM that the bot sends. Have you ever had an instance where a server was spammed and there was some impersonation of the praise bot and it tried to phish community members, or have you been able to stay away from that?
No, but we have had an instance of bot praising or people misusing it, and it's currently it's happening as we speak over at the Talent DAO community. You can see they have had an increase of 7,500% in their praise usage the last 7 days. And that is since they announced that they will be tying they have been hinting at perhaps an airdrop or at that the praise data will be tied to you getting something. If you get praised, you will get something in the end. So there's a lot of people. This combined with having no CAPTCHA validation on the server means that they have a huge inflow of people just joining the server and writing dummy praise, believing that they will get something from it. That is the first attempt at scamming the system we have seen.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, we have a lot of security measures and firewalls up and stuff like that, so not to worry on the Gnosis Chain Discord.
And then when you turn the praise data, when you add this impact score layer during the quantification, then one of the tasks of the quantifier is also to identify sort of dummy praise. So in this specific instance, the quantifiers would just mark all those praise and dismiss them during the quantifications. They will never amount to any. You will never. They will never get an impact score.
And another update that you have is that praise works in Discord threads now. Is that right?
Yes,
Yeah,
that is right.
Super useful. So if you go over to the chat today for the call, I praised everyone who's attended, and it looks like I've missed one person, which I'll get right now. But yeah, just wanted to bring your attention to that. And yeah, with that, if you have any questions for Kristofer, this is a great time to talk with him. Obviously, he's super knowledgeable about praise and just DAOs in general. So if you're building a DAO or just have any questions, this is a great opportunity.
I have to reach out to Kristofer. I have problems setting up a page. My recommendation again, if you would like to make praise more used within the community, make it into a habit or a schedule habit to begin with. It's much more reliable than just relying on people, community members starting using it just because they feel like it. So integrate it into some kind of recurring meeting, and then it's quite easy. And it's usually you should do, or usually you do some kind of check-in exercise at the beginning of good community calls or good meetings, and then you can just replace that check-in with praising, and it's a really good check-in exercise as well. So that's the easy way to get started.
Cool. Well, I guess if we don't have any questions, then we're coming up on the half hour and don't want to keep you, Kristofer. So thank you so much for running through this demo. We recorded it, so we'll definitely be using this to create some nice content. And yeah, thank you so much. And we will talk to you soon. This was just kind of like a one-off call. This was not scheduled as part of a recurring call. So we set aside some time just to do
Yeah,
this.
and I'd be happy to come back if you would like to get some more guidance of creating this, like you mentioned, the group of community members that could take a little bit of responsibility over the quantification or something like that, because it's a practice that needs some cat herding and the marketing, and you need to get into the flow of praising over time.
Yeah, I mean, that would be great. And always very appreciative of your time. So thank you so much. And thank you
Thank you
everyone
for having me.
yeah, thank you everyone for making the time to come today. And yeah, you should have received the message from the Praise bot in your DMs. So check that out. And if you haven't set up Praise already, then the bot will walk you through that. So, and it's as simple as just typing / activate. That's right, Kristofer?
Yes, before you praise your first, before you send your first praise, you need to activate, which means uh, linking an Ethereum address with your Discord account, and thereby creating sort of the praise user. Because you need to have a praise user as well, and we will also be launching praise in other channels over time. So we're working on a Twitter praise bot, for instance. There we have one user, many praise channels.
Cool.
So activate before you praise.
Yeah. All right. Take care, everyone, and have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.